Okay, good evening, everyone. It's exactly 6:30 p.m. IST, Indian Standard Time at the moment. We're starting right on time as per the agenda. So, welcome all. Before we begin today's knowledge series and leadership installation ceremony, I'd like to take a moment to ask you all to go back about 40 days when all of us were overjoyed, overzealous, and excited about the place we were in. We created a landmark event, the whole TiE Mysore ecosystem together. It was in Infosys, it was in the unforgettable Mysore Palace, where an unforgettable 3, 2, 1 go happened when Pawan and all of them initiated the lights on the palace. And I'd just like to share one visual from the TiE Global Summit. And I'm sure everybody was here, but whoever wasn't here, this was how it was. Thanks to the entire TiE Mysore board, the charter members, associate members, student members, and everybody, we were all able to pull this mega event off. The size itself shows how many people were behind it and what was the magnitude of it and what impact it created. So a huge round of applause to all of us for this milestone event. So with that, we'd like to bring all of you back to today's event. We have two wonderful events planned for you. One is a knowledge series by Mr. Kiran Bettatpur, followed by a leadership installation ceremony. I am Adarsh Ramesh. I'll be your host for today. And I'm proud that this is my third consecutive year hosting this event particularly, with Mr. Rajit Pai passing the baton on to Sudhanva sir, and then Sudhanva sir to Mahesh Rao sir, and Dr. Mahesh Rao now to Bhaskar sir. I've been fortunate and I'm excited to play a small role of an anchor for today's evening. Without further ado, I'd like to call on stage Dr. Mahesh Rao, the immediate past president of TiE Mysuru, to please come deliver the welcome address and the opening remarks for today.
Good evening. Good. That's good to hear. It's an immense pleasure for me and an honor to welcome all of you, and for a change, in the, most probably from the beginning of TiE Mysuru events, this is the first time I'm seeing all the board members being present. Okay? 7 out of 7, all present, and that itself is a record. I don't know what the reason is. I'm a bit scared now. Okay? So, to come back to, it would be my pleasure to mention about TiE and what TiE does before doing anything else, right? TiE is a worldwide organization in 16 countries, 66 chapters, with more than 3,000 charter members all over the world who have contributed to the entrepreneurial ecosystem over the past, from 1992 to 2025, however the number of years is, right? Almost 33 years. So what has been done is that there has been quite a few unicorns, sonicons, all of that coming out of TiE's, the 5 pillars, what we contribute and what we grow. What are those 5 pillars? Can anybody name them? Let me take a student, and instead of me every time mentioning, I would like to ask a student to mention that. The student in the back with the checker shirt there, can you mention what are all the 5 pillars of TiE? I'll help you. Yes, open book test. Now the whole idea is to get them involved, right? So otherwise what happens is that I'll be just mentioning as a professor, and I want them to just at least say a few words so that we can all take it from there. Okay, mentoring, networking, good. Investing, incubating, educating. Today we are doing the educating part. And thanks Kiran for taking the time to come over here and educate this crowd about the latest things which are happening in the marketplace. And that is the whole purpose of this. And as I said, welcome to all the charter members, the student members, the institutional members. It's a great opportunity to learn what is happening in the marketplace with the AI driven, and that seems to be the key word today. There is a statement that AI is replacing jobs left, right, and center. This was the same fear we had when the computers came into picture. And from there, today we see that the computers have increased the number of jobs than reducing it. So today I hope that the AI will increase the number of jobs, but maybe in a different segment. And that's the whole purpose of this masterclass, trying to understand what is happening in there. And with that, I again take the opportunity to welcome all of you into this masterclass. And it is a momentous occasion. As I said, all 7 out of 7 board members are here, which is a great accomplishment by itself. So let's hope we have a wonderful day with wonderful evening with Kiran, and then the passing of the baton. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir, for an enriching and an educative welcome address. And you showed that you are a professor always, and the backbenchers have to be, always afraid of being in the backbench. With the trend he has started today, backbenchers, we will also ask you questions from Mr. Kiran's session. So be open and be reciprocative and attentive, or move to the front and occupy seats so you won't be picked. This is our last chance. Okay. So now to introduce our speaker for today, I call on stage Mr. Ram Kevlur, board member, TiE Mysuru.
Good evening, all. I don't want to say this, but it's kind of true that it's not very often that we have a guest speaker who's so versatile and so diverse as Kiran is. More importantly, beyond his credentials and achievements, he's also got a few guests along with budding entrepreneurs who've come along. Thank you so much, Kiran, for the gesture. His son and his friends, budding entrepreneurs and product design company experts are here. So welcome to Sumukh, Nitish, and David for joining your dad. Sumukh for joining your dad. To do some justice to our guest for the day, Kiran Bettadapoor is a practicing advocate and a patent lawyer. He's the designated partner at Prudential Law Chambers, a qualified industrial engineer and a company secretary. Kiran is an alumnus of IIT Kharagpur and also of IISc Bangalore. He has expertise in high-tech, ed-tech, green tech, food tech, energy, and other verticals in both B2B and B2C markets. He has co-founded and bootstrapped a number of ventures. In his corporate career with HCL Hewlett-Packard and Birlasoft, Kiran provided strategic vision, managed operations, and achieved business goals in international markets. Passionate about market-driven innovation and disruptive entrepreneurship, Kiran invests in and also advises and mentors technology startups. And as a feather on his cap, he has also written books, and the most popular of them being this book called the Crosswords Book of the Year book, The Art of Selling. That was the name of his book, The Art of Selling. His book, Gita and the Art of Selling, was actually nominated by Crosswords Book of the Year as one of the most popular book, and was given an award for that. On that note, Kiran, I request you to come up on stage, and just the whole audience is waiting for your exciting speech. Thank you.
The Kumbh Mela season, right? All planets are aligning, so maybe that's another reason why all the board members are here and everything is getting aligned again.
Genius, they say that when he reached the shores of the US, at US Customs he said to the officials there, I have nothing to declare except my genius. In the same vein, I say I have nothing to declare except my confusion. And that's pretty much evident in the string, all over the place. There is no method to the madness. The topic has essentially 3 elements to it: entrepreneurship, innovation, and markets. I don't want to preach to the choir because I can see there are industry veterans, doyens. What I'll do is I'll briefly talk about it, and I believe 50 minutes is the time allocated. Ideally, I would like to save some time and then throw it open for questions. So I'll talk briefly about the three topics and then try to connect the dots. I'm a big fan of this gentleman, Joseph Schumpeter. Schumpeter was the Austrian finance minister way back in the 1949, 50, 51. This was post-World War II. Europe had been ravaged by the war. He came up with this, he propounded this theory of creative destruction. He said if economies were to grow sustainably, inclusively, and all that good stuff, the only way you can achieve it is by creatively destroying whatever you're manufacturing, whatever you've designed, whatever you're producing. Essentially, he brought in the element of innovation into the equation. He said it is only through innovation that you can continuously create a demand for products and services. Now, I don't want to dwell too much on the theory. I'll quickly run through this. Everybody knows this. For profit is what we are talking about. What I want to draw your attention to is risk and value addition. These are two key points that we have to keep in mind in the context of entrepreneurship. Resources, everybody knows this. I would like to believe as a legal professional that all of business is about cash, concepts, and contracts. Right from your memorandum of association, everything is a contract. Your client contracts, your supplier contracts, and it need not necessarily be a paper-based contract. It can also be oral contracts, right? The reason why I put up this slide in here is to distinguish between businesses and entrepreneurship. How is entrepreneurship different from a business? And of course, we know environment and all that good stuff. The point to remember is all businesses are not entrepreneurial ventures. All entrepreneurial ventures are businesses. And what's the difference? Entrepreneurs take higher risk, one. And I'll explain that. How higher risk? Because in anticipation of a higher reward. And they are much more resilient by and large, because there is a lot of uncertainty in terms of whatever ideas, whatever concepts that they're working on, and they need to be resilient. And that resilience translates in pivoting, depending on the latest flavor of the season. Right now, everybody is pivoting onto AI. And they rewrite rules which change status quo. So somebody picking up a dealership of Maruti is not necessarily an entrepreneur, because there is a demand, there is a territory, and he's catering to the demand in that territory. So that's one key distinction that needs to be kept in mind. This basically is the phases, all very standard stuff. The next slide is more important, so I'll skip through this. Essentially, every entrepreneurial venture, startup, follows the hockey stick curve. And that same curve is plotted as the chasm of death, the valley of death. When most ventures fail, there are four key inflection points that you need to keep in mind whenever you are looking at startups. People will talk about starting from vision, mission, whole lot of conviction, whole lot of stuff. But in my view, a startup, for it to be successful, needs to take good care of these four inflection points. Early stage, it's the technology risk that is there, because you're trying to do something new. And hence there is a risk, value creation, and IP protection if there is IP involved. then subsequently, you're still in the loss-making stage. You're still spending. No returns, no cash inflows, only outflows. Market risk is after you've gone to market. Eventually, you hit the up curve, uptick. Once you're on the uptick, you're looking at breaking even and making a profit. And subsequently, the growth risk. Eventually, when you become a mature, large corporation, let's say. Now, the key point in any entrepreneurial venture is the idea behind the venture, because you are onto something that is hitherto untested, unknown, the waters are uncharted. And what's an innovative idea? Very simple. You're creating something, eliminating something, improving something, reducing something, basically enhancing, creating value for your market, target audience. And once you are creating value for your audience, your market, the value proposition becomes vital. And what's a value proposition? The two key points: value proposition, use case scenarios, never forget about it. 99.99% startups, in my opinion, and I have had 2 startups, I'm on to my 3rd one. 1 startup failed, the 2nd startup made some money. But most startups, in my view, fail because they don't do a good job on these 2 points: value proposition and use case scenarios. Value proposition is relatively this simple one. It's all about what is it that you are giving in terms of value in exchange for the money in the marketplace. Feel good, clean, better, with the product. Save money, time, energy, work better, faster, basically productivity. And then you will also see save lives, make mobile applications, mobile products, ruggedized products, robust, secure, safety. There's so many of these things. Basically, it's a value proposition that you take to the market with your product or service. Now, a value proposition per se is not good enough. If there is no value proposition in your idea, behind your idea, just chuck it. There's no point wasting time, energy, effort, money on it. What you really need to look for is a compelling value proposition. That's a good starting point, but that's presumably not good enough. What you would need to look for is a disruptive value proposition. Something that disrupts the way business in that space, in that segment or sector is done, but you hit the gold mine when you reshape markets with your value proposition. So, while compelling value proposition is the starting point, you need to necessarily gun for something that is disruptive and hopefully market reshaping. Now, how do we do this? All this theory is good, but in a real life scenario, assessing the potential of your value or your product and service and the value proposition itself is a big, big, big challenge. Now, it's the same thing, market risk in a different way. Think value, launch product. I've just plotted it differently only to point out the stages in the investment cycle. Early stage, when you're working on tech risk, you're basically looking for pre-seed, seed, for all the youngsters out there who are entrepreneurs, wannabes. When you're looking to overcome the market risk, you're basically talking angel. And then on to VCs and private equity and capital markets, growth risk and survival risk. There are so many other strategies that one could adopt, delisting yourself, acquisitions, mergers and acquisitions, so on and so forth. The reason why I have this as a separate slide is everybody thinks of entrepreneurship as reward function, return on my investment. Sorry, the real challenge is taking care of the risks that are there behind the venture. You take good care of the risks, you mitigate the risks, you have a better chance of being successful in the venture. There are different ways. So when one is looking for a value proposition, a compelling value proposition, it is vital to know how products evolve over time, products get enhanced. There are distinctive paths that they evolve in, functionality-wise. Miniaturization, mobilize, everything over a period of time. Human being, man being a mobile being, creature, wants to take whatever gadgets, whatever stuff he has along with him wherever he goes. The classic example, what started as live concerts 200 years ago, classical music, Carnatic classical music, then onto the gramophone, onto the record player, 45 minutes, 60 minutes, long play, short play. Gramophone, of course, was electromechanical. You rotate it, and then, once it runs out of energy, it just wanes down. Onto the tape, spool, 2 hours, 3 hours, longer play. Onto your boombox, 2-in-1, you could go around with it. Then onto your Walkman, CD Walkman, and then the iPod, one of the most successful products ever designed. And the beauty of the iPod was it ushered in a paradigm shift. And how did it reshape the market? Form factor, UI, all that is a given. For the first time, you could pick and choose the songs that you want on the media. Prior to that, be it the CD, be it the Walkman, be it the tape, cassette, it was all fixed. So I love Annauru's Gandhada Gudi, but I don't like that one song. Sorry, you have no choice. You have to take all 5 songs, one go, and pay for it. So mashup, 2-in-1s, 3-in-1s, you merge multiple gadgets, make it one. That's there even in the food tech industry. McDonald's, 2-in-1, 3-in-1s. Markets, the way the business model itself, many times, online, all your e-tail is basically the way the market itself has been reshaped, and the way transactions take place. Modify and improve, it's an incremental thing. You're constantly enhancing the functionality, and I always take the example of 1962, one of the most patented products ever, the seat belt. Volvo launched it, and it was a 2-point, maybe a 3-point seat belt. 1, 2, 3. You just pull it and put it in. It went on till the 7-point seat belt. There is a harness here, and then here, here, here. 6 plus 1, 7. Was being used in Formula racing. There was a crash. The driver died. They thought the belt had failed. Initially, they examined the vehicle thoroughly. They found that the belt had performed well enough. Functionally, whatever it was supposed to do, it had done. And why did the driver then die? From 200 miles per hour to 0, you hit a concrete wall. The head moves forward so fast that the neck bone broke, and he died. So they came up with an 8-point seat belt for harnessing the head, making sure that it doesn't move forward fast. So you can pretty much, any product line, any software, any service, you can, if you look at these parts, mechanize. That's standard, given. Anything that is manual will become mechanical, mechanical to electromechanical, electromechanical to electronic. Once it is electronic, smart, AI, analytics, form factor, better GUI, user interface, etc. Materials, all the time you keep replacing, making it more cost efficient, performance-wise, functionality. Modern, society itself is evolving. Your microwave, we were just talking about the CFTRI, ready-to-eat, microwavable meals. That's a huge hit for the simple reason that suddenly we became 2-income families. Model, I talked about it, medium in which you instruct, medium in which you interact with basically a platform. From call centers to online to bots, all of this is even your Alexa, everything. if you were to think about it. And methods are all, the Kanban, the Six Sigma, productivity oriented. So once you know there are these distinct ways in which technology evolves, it's very easy for you to think in terms of what would be an innovative idea that will have a solid value proposition in the market. I think the battery is very weak. Okay. I'm now going to talk, connect innovation with successful startups. And we all know these startups. I'm sure many of these points you would know it intuitively if you've never really analyzed it. But there is a lot of learning from these startups. And the way they made it big, on the flip side, once you know how they became big and what was successful, you can always extrapolate or interpolate and then figure out what not to do. Tesla. Innovation is not just about novelty. You have to go beyond novelty and make it, again, it's the value proposition that drives innovation. Many people, who come to me for patent filing and protection, just because it is something new, they'll say, sir, we would like to. And I tell those startups, don't file your patent application if there is no commercial value in it. If you can't make money off of it, why spend money on the idea? And it is very simple figuring out, and I'll give you a very simple, quick 2-minute, one minute litmus test that you can apply. Ask yourself, does this idea have a utilitarian value? Answer is either yes or no. Yes, it means there is some value proposition, some utility, so maybe there is a demand for it in the market. If the answer is no, ask yourself, is it entertaining, the idea? If the answer is yes, maybe it will make money. If the answer is no, it's a worthless, useless idea, just trash it. And he took, every entrepreneur worth his or her salt takes calculated risk. They don't go crazy, moonshot ideas. Of course, now that he has made a ton of money, originally he started off with PayPal. He made his money there, and then he's ventured onto EV and SpaceX and what have you. So gradually he's upping the ante on his ideas. Differentiation is absolutely vital. If you cannot differentiate your idea, your product, your service in the market, it's very difficult to carve out a niche. Many startups that are successful, you can take the names of Amazon, so many of them, they've all started with a niche, captured that market, treated it as a beachhead, made an entry, consolidated their position in the beachhead, and then launched a full-fledged attack. And they constantly refine the idea. All of this is pretty intuitive. Adaptive resilience, the market is changing, ever evolving. Given that backdrop, you've got to be resilient, one, and you've got to keep adapting. Amazon's done it, originally just books, then look at the way they have gone on to cloud. So many of these other, all of e-tail, from grocery shopping. And many times those that make it big as a startup, as a new venture, entrepreneurial venture, they recreate value chains. They not only go up the value chain, they also recreate the way the value chain operates in the market. Constant monitoring of market trends. Many of these points would obviously apply to the other ventures. They're all well-known names. The other success factor, key success factor for startups, it's the Uber story. You look for unserved segments in the market, underserved segments in the market, and you focus on it. And that's how you can create a huge market out of unserved markets. Lower cost, simple, easy to use. All this is tech-driven. The platform is the tech. They revolutionize the way we commute. They don't own assets. Otherwise, all of tradition, conventional businesses were, I will invest, I'll buy factories, I'll buy land, vehicles, automobiles. They've changed it totally. The company owns nothing. Same thing with Airbnb, new business models, market structures are realigned, channels are reworked, business processes are changed, modified. The N actually looks like Netscape. But Netflix, they pivoted so beautifully, and Bhaskar and I were in the valley, 95, 96, when all of Hollywood was after Netflix. They wanted to shut them down on copyright infringement. But they survived. And not only survived, now they are thriving. Again, because they pivoted at the right time, they changed their business model, they did not cling on to whatever they had gone to market with. Embracing change, personalization and customer experience. I just can't overemphasize this point of customer experience. Consistently, businesses that succeed take great care of customer experience. I'm just put it together, I'm sure you are all familiar with it. Constant investment on R&D, user experience, uncertainty. Many times you drive, if there is uncertainty on the tech front or the business front, and you are a de facto standard, gold standard as an Apple, you will drive. Of course, Apple, bang for buck. They're always behind Samsung. But the way when they come out with it, the clarity with which they come out with it, and the simplest of features, the way they leverage it in their commercials, in their advertisements, promotions, it's simply brilliant. So there's a lot of marketing also that goes with the tech. Everybody thinks innovation is tech. Innovation is tech, marketing, and IP protection, and the business itself. We can't ignore Google, consistent track record, and the way they go about doing it is they've created a culture of innovation, and by telling all their employees, 20% of your time you can spend on whatever you're passionate about. So they actually get to work only 4 days in a 5-day week. And the same thing with Tesla and Panasonic collaborated on the EV. No longer are we, in this, I will do everything on my own. Many times you've got to obviously team up with other leaders or players in the market and come out with your innovative ideas, go to market fast, nimble. Agility is key. In terms of don'ts, Kodak, everybody knows, great failure. Convenience is something that they missed out on. The tech trend, the changes that were there, if you are not receptive, if you are not constantly looking at the tech landscape, you will miss out a massive wave. Customer centricity, imagine we would take those films, and when you remove those films from the camera, you had to be so careful because you could not expose it to sunlight. Take it, get it developed, go there twice, thrice. Sears, entire internet, e-tail, e-commerce, they completely missed out on it. They consolidated, JCPenney, so many of these department stores, eventually they lost out. And Sears was headquartered in Chicago, right? Same thing with Blockbuster. What Netflix did to them. In fact, personally, I was never convinced that Netflix was a good enough model initially when they started off. But then look at the way they have streamed, when they latched on to streaming. But the earlier idea, I was right. I thought, what is this nonsense? I would always prefer a Blockbuster for the simple reason that you just walk into the store and you pick up whatever you want to watch. Here you got to go, you got to put it into and then send it. Oh, sorry. Then, of course, Nokia. Even before Nokia, the obsolescence story, Palm. I bet on Palm because they had 75% market share at that point in time, smartphone market, after the Handspring acquisition. But they failed miserably. And then same thing happened, history repeated itself, Nokia. So it's, and BlackBerry as well. So in terms of, if you look at all the the, the various ways in which innovation happens, improvements happen, I like to look at it, think of it as ABCD. Basically, it's 4 quadrants. On one side, you have market impact, and on the other side, tech progress. How much will that idea that you have come out with, or the innovation, contribute to progress of technology itself? Agile improvement. If you have to be successful as an entrepreneur, you got to keep improving with agility. It's basically continuous. Incremental improvement is what I'm talking about. Breakthrough, the moonshot ideas. I'll churn the ocean, I'll launch a spaceship. Breakthrough. Creative imitation is a big fan, and I'll bring in 3-4 slides at the end on this. We have missed out. In the 70s, there was this import substitution programs that Government of India had. And then the markets were opened, liberalized, 90s, and we missed out on it completely. Whereas you've had countries like Korea, countries like Japan, all being built on this. Reverse engineering. You break it down, you figure out, and then you improve upon it. I think it's high time we started looking at it. And then, of course, disruptive innovation, which I did talk about. So it's very clear you can figure out low market impact, low tech progress, it's agile improvement, and so on and so forth. These are, again, mapped onto the risks. You ask yourself a question, is the product useful, desirable, feasible? If the answer is yes, you've taken care of tech risk. Will people pay money? What's the competition? If you take good care of that question, you've taken care of market risk. You at least mitigated market risk, because you can never rid yourself of competition. Operations risk, sustainable, scalable, and then the business model itself, year on year, sustainability, scalability, survival of the business. Is it viable? So finally, it is this intersection that, truly speaking, is an effective opportunity. If you can look for this, if you can find this, if you can get hold of it, latch onto it for all that you're worth, because we would be looking at a unicorn. As a patent attorney, I had to bring in patentability, because this is where I connect the dots. I did talk about value proposition. I did talk about markets, what kind of ideas to pursue in the market, and so on and so forth. Patent, the reason why, because it pains me when I look at startups coming in and wanting me to protect many times crazy ideas. First and foremost, and I explain it with examples, the key criteria, the acceptance criteria. This was in France, design patent. This shoe, the red-soled shoe, was launched by Christian Louboutin. I don't know how it is pronounced. It was a massive, massive hit. Each pair was priced, those stilettos were priced at $2,000. But it was selling like hotcakes. Of course, that's the French women. Our women are smarter. They'll buy 100 pairs with the same $2,000. You give it. Nevertheless, because it was such a huge success in the market, Yves Saint Laurent came out with an all-red shoe. So, infringement litigation. The court held that this red sole, because till then it was either black sole or tan, it was so distinct, so unique, so novel, that there was patent infringement. Something as simple, it was a design patent, of course, granted. So novelty and originality is a key test. If there is no novelty or originality, and it happens with every startup that I have seen, in agri-tech, just yesterday somebody came to me with an idea. There is so much, most people, when they come up with an idea and they do, check it out online, they go on to Google. No. Patents.google.com and scholar.google.com. Please change, because that, with the idea, on that agri-tech idea, the moment I went on to Scholar, Google Scholar, there were tons of research papers on it. So which means nothing that they have come out with was original. The second one is, a database-based targeted marketing campaign. During good old days, 90s, it was all mail campaigns. And Info USA, you would know, Vin Gupta, supposed to be very close to Bill Clinton, made 700 million on his venture. Somebody called Perfect Web. Perfect Web had a patent. It's a database, women, various parameters are there, and depending on the product for which you want to send out the mailer, the mail campaign, you could pick and choose the ones to whom you would send the mailer. Vin Cheddar copied it, and he was sued. The court held that it is common sense. So if something is obvious, basically there has to be a distinct inventive step. They said, this is obvious. I can do it on a piece of paper if I have a database of all my clients. And they said, they cancelled the patent itself. So the second criterion for grant of a patent is this inventive step that is non-obvious. The third one, of course, is utility, which I already talked about, should be non-obvious. Non-obvious to those who are familiar with that art, with that field, that sector. And the one on the left is a utility patent. The one on the right is a design patent. Three types of, the third one is a plant. And the plant patent has to be something that is either genetically modified, or it can't be something, I grafted 2 plants, came out with a third variant, that the office will reject, because that is not your IP. That is what nature has worked. This, all these abstract ideas like, I'll build an elevator to space, why do we need to launch rockets? This is a perpetual energy device. It can't be abstract, so it has to be manufacturable, the test, which means you should be in a position to produce the product or the service and market it. So 4 key tests, and then there are other rejection criteria. I'll quickly go through it. It can't be against public policy. Canada granted a design patent for vodka bottles, skull-shaped. Teenagers took a fancy to it, and they started buying it. And obviously the government didn't want teenagers to consume, and once they've bought the bottle, they want to empty it so that they can keep it in their bookshelf, the skull. And guess what do? Quickly gulp it down. Not desirable at all. And this one is one of my favorites. Can anybody guess what this is? This one here. It looks like, an astronaut, right? Or a pilot for higher G. You just rotate so the centrifugal force will work, and higher G he gets. No. This is a birth assistance machine. The whole idea behind this is pregnant women, you strap them and you rotate it fast. Childbirth will happen faster. Now, which lady in her right senses would subject herself to this torture? So they rejected it. Why? Because it poses a danger to public health. You have no idea what impact, what effect it will have on the baby, child, and of course the mother as well. And this is also a classic. It's a bulb-changing device, contraption. The thing is, 2 people have to hold it up, and the arm will reach out and remove the bulb, and then plug in the new bulb. If 2 people are needed for doing this, I will not use the device. I'll just use one guy to remove it. And they come up with all these crazy ideas. So the point is, it should not be either frivolous or silly. So such ideas will be treated as silly, and patents will not be granted. It will be rejected, the application. And the next diagram is also a very interesting thing. It's a jaw muscle exercising contraption. So you just put it on, it's like a piston, So it just latches on here, and then you can exercise your jaw muscles. What about good question. See, weapons, you can file a patent and you can protect it. But the challenge there is government, if it thinks it is against public policy, will refuse to grant it. It's the same thing for atomic energy. In India, any patent, any IP, if you want to protect in in atomic energy related application, if you want to file, it gets rejected. So there are several other similar, so it's not silly, against public policy, health. This one obviously is against public health, morality. Abstract theories, reject. I add mixtures. I just take three things, mix it together, and I will, no, they will reject it. Because it's well known, those properties are there, like most formulations, they'll get rejected. Algorithms, they will reject it unless and until it is, the algorithm is something that is targeted for a specific application. It has to be application specific. Google PageRank algorithm is one, and Karmakar algorithm is the other one for queuing theory. Agricultural or horticultural methods, grafting and things like that, that they will reject. Traditional knowledge also they will reject, but you can always circumvent it, the ways and means of doing it. Now, the next slide is one of my favorite slides. If at all there is something that you want to take back today, this is the slide and the next two slides. All of IP protection, because we are talking compelling value proposition, disruptive, we are talking market impact, we are talking innovation, innovative ideas. Think of all knowledge that is there, all as three silos, at least from the patenting perspective. Those that are expired, because your patent is valid for 20 years. I keep referring to it as patent sometimes and patent. Patent is the US pronunciation, patent is the Indian pronunciation. The rights are expired. It's extinguished. Anybody can take, if it is an expired patent, you can take it, manufacture it in your factory and start marketing it, no questions asked. The extant ones, existing, those rights are still subsisting, so you've got to be very careful. And if there is an existing patent for your idea, don't lose heart. You can still circumvent the claims that are there on the patent, or leapfrog the idea. I did, in one of my previous slides, I talked about how technology evolves, products evolve in certain distinct paths. Remember this, because that's what you will try to do. If there is already a patent filed on your idea, don't lose heart, try to circumvent it or leapfrog. Expectant are the ones on which, either the application is filed or somebody is working on the idea, but the application has still not been filed. Future. Right? These are the three silos. Most of us focus on this one, the expectant, rights to be claimed, right? Future. And everybody wants to look for these moonshot ideas, the great ideas. Whereas there is a much better approach, and I'll explain it with an example and conclude, and then throw it open for question and answers. Anybody can guess what this gadget is? Yes, carburetor, it's called. What do we do? And it's a common fixture in the US. Every apartment, every house has it. You get rid of wet waste using this, right? It's there. But what do? We will first take a aluminum hanger, open it if the drain is clogged, then try to clean up the drain. Doesn't work, then rush somebody, pick up drain X, put it in, doesn't work, then we call the plumber. The point is, this is something that was IP protected some 60 years ago. Guess what? Somebody has innovated it, used it, come up with a control system for controlling the speed. Basically, whatever is manual becomes mechanical, becomes electromechanical, becomes electronic, becomes smart, intelligent, look and feel, UI, UX, interface, all that. And they've protected it in 2007. There is a new patent. So the point is, instead of trying to, outthink China, US, all these other countries, maybe a better idea would be to look at those that have expired and try to enhance it, improve upon it. With that, sure, sir. I think exact on the dot, 40 minutes, 45 minutes. I had to make sure that Bangalore's reputation is not lost. I come here and then I ramble for 1.5 hours. Somebody. Perhaps I was getting bored with my own spiel.
One is that you have referred in many ways about managing risks well. Would you agree that risk management should be a core competency of any startup founder?
Absolutely.
That is question. In fact, I was watching Warren Buffett during 2006 Davos interview with the Fox Television, and he said this. Second question is, you talked about Tesla but didn't talk about BYD. I was listening to Ruchesh Sharma.
Okay.
He says BYD has gone way beyond
beyond.
Tesla. The valuations have not gone up. Tesla is overvalued and BYD is. So what is your take on that?
See, you have a startup, it is doing very well, successful. But the thing is, so is the environment, so is the market. Everything is constantly changing. Unless and until you are always aware of what is going on and the way in which this can be done, regardless of the field that you are in. You know that there is AI, blockchain, all these emerging technologies. Please take some time off, ask yourself, how can that new technology be applied in this field? It's as simple as that to begin with. Then, of course, you've got to go through the whole process of mapping unique value proposition, compelling value proposition, disruptive, all those other criteria, they have to fall in place. That's the way you go about. And one key aspect of it, without overthinking, without ending up with paralysis through analysis, you just spend some time being the devil's advocate. It's your idea. The problem with us is we get so emotionally attached to our idea. Even if somebody, firstly we will go and ask some student, some teacher, some lecturer, some friend, mom's, idu valle idea na? And guess what? Nobody wants to hurt your feelings. They'll always say, solid maga, brilliant. And then next thing you know, you're working on it, burning the midnight oil. Please don't do it. It's very simple. There is this idea, it helps somebody, utility, right? If there is utility, usefulness of the idea, if you were the client, would you pay money for it? It's as simple as that, simple checks like that. That's one. See, this technology is always a guessing game. No, you can never get it right. Tesla, who's going to come out at the end of the day, winner, you never know. But one thing that I liked about Tesla was, whatever view you may have about the guy, the man is different. He constantly changes status quo. All of Tesla's IP, one fine day he decided, I'm going to throw it open. Anybody wants to use it, use it. He said, I'm not going to sue you for IP infringement. And we had our IAC in Bangalore also copy that, and they threw it open. But the reason for that was none of those patents had been monetized. So don't protect your IP idea if there is no monetization, no wealth that you can create based on it. Out of a portfolio of about 1,500 patents that IAC has, they've monetized about 10, 12, 15. CFTRI, on the contrary, has done a brilliant job. And we have scientists from CFTRI, Mysuru here amongst us. So we were discussing it. So to cut a long story short, it's extremely difficult. You never know. There is always this spy versus spy. There used to be these comics during I don't see them now. Everybody is trying to outwit the other guy. So but the bottom line, as an investor, I will rely on the wisdom of crowds. If the market is valuing Tesla higher, There has to be a reason for it. And the simple reason that comes to my mind is once market share is captured, wresting that market share from somebody else is that much more difficult. It calls for a lot of marketing and sales promotion. Any other?
If you try to patent, it would be rejected generally. So, as you said, in continuation to our discussion prior, so idli batter was patented in 2000. So, idli batter generation is the traditional knowledge. Then, how did they get it into that patent?
Wonderful question. See, there are two in this game. The way it works in US, whatever application you send out, all that the examiner will do is he will check $100 fee paid, yes. All the claims are there, all the boxes filled, signatures there. He is doing a postman's, he is doing a bureaucrat's job, ticking boxes, and grants the patent. Of course, there's a process that goes, if there is opposition, you will have to take it up and then defend your idea, your claims. But assuming everything goes off smoothly and the idea itself hits the market will take care of it. If it has infringed somebody else's claims, they will come after you. The courts will take care of it. Whereas here the examiner, when he sends the FER, he does a thorough job, independent job, over and above whatever prior art you've done, landscape research you've done. He'll go beyond that and do his own check on the Indian database, on US database, European EPO database. And then if he finds something similar, he will say non-patentable. No inventive step. Not novel enough. This has to change. Let the system take care of it. That's one. Second, the problem with traditional knowledge. And just 2 days back, this 6th generation Ayurvedic doctor came in and she said all of Western medicine under that system, mercury is a toxic substance. If there is mercury in your formulation, it gets rejected. They will not even allow it, they will not even allow it to go past class 1, clinical trial testing. She said, with our formulation, and there is a process for, preparing the formulation, she said, any neurological disorder, paralysis, autism can be cured. And it is 6 generations that they have been using that formulation. So she wants to IP protect it. The challenge still will be, Ayush is a better bet is what I advised her, because the acceptance criteria are far lower and it is considered. Patenting is a bigger challenge. She will have to back it up with scientific, statistical data. And, even in the US, it's a sham many times. And I'll give you the example of BT cotton. 1993 BT cotton, the research, it was actually tried out on sheep. The cotton fiber, it may give a higher yield, but then subsequently the soil, the yield levels go down, is what people have found. So I've reviewed the original research paper of Monsanto. 2 out of 21 sheep on which the tests were carried out, and the way they tested it was, the seed is used as feed for animal. It's used as animal feed. Now that feed, 2 out of 21 developed cancerous tumors. They just disregarded the data as bad data. It's there in black and white. And then what do? They go out and sell it all over the world. I think, this is something that we must always be aware of and not get on the defensive the moment it comes to traditional knowledge. But we have to make sure that we follow those rigorous processes that are there to be able to defend it. Whether mercury is really toxic, not toxic. Everybody knows, in neurological treatment, neurotoxins extracted from snake poison is routinely used. So why not? Who knows whether in very small quantities, maybe mercury is, useful.
So one more. Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Before starting a research, should a topic should be selected based on whether there is a patent, then pursue it, or conducting a research, then go to for a patent?
Fantastic question. See, it's a common saying, necessity is the mother of invention, right? My take is, curiosity is the father of research. So research should not have any shackles. But if you want to patent protect it, opportunity is the grandfather of innovation, IP protection. Just remember this. If there is no commercial value, honestly, between you and me, it costs millions of dollars to effectively protect your idea globally, because it is jurisdiction specific. Your batter, dosa batter is protected in India. If you want to take it to Europe, anybody can take the formula and prepare it there and market it. Because anyway it is traditional. So, any other questions?
Just a leading, given also you mentioned that in India, so we are not more focused on that side. And startups is also, rushing towards, making a revenues and then, get into the market and expanding kind of a thing. So what is the starting point for them? So how do they, figure it out?
For startups to go global?
Not global, including, when do they think about, creating that patent values and then move towards that? And also, when do they reach out to the attorneys in that aspect?
Excellent question. If you were to look at the cost of whatever that formulation, the traditional medicine is, maybe 10 rupees, right? But let's assume for a moment that it actually is efficacious. Now, what about the quality of life of maybe, autistic children that has been improved, lives that may have been saved, paralytic stroke. Now, so if you were to get the necessary regulatory approvals and start marketing it, would you price every dose at 100 rupees, 1,000 rupees, 10,000 rupees, a lakh? If you can save a life, and a relative of mine had a surgery, open heart, had a massive heart attack, he was clinically dead. The hospital, and this is the problem with corporatization of hospitals, healthcare, they said, and this was 10 years plus ago, they said there is a 5 lakh injection, new drug, that's the only hope. And we had said, yes, please go ahead. One of the surgeons who had a conscience, who cared for the Hippocrates oath that he had taken, who believed in it, took us to the side and said, sir, dud kharch madbedi, he's gone. So the point that I'm trying to make is, when you say value of the idea, you have to look at it in a bit of a clinical manner by thinking value proposition. So who's my target audience? What am I trying to do? Is it just some simple fancy feature? Or is it something that is life-saving? Look at the extremes. Life-saving, people will pay, those who can afford will pay any amount. But, those who can't, this is the challenge that you have. So you can easily assess the value. And it is very simple. It's the same, every management student, every entrepreneur is told total addressable market and, all those calculations. It is as simple as that. You just assume a 2%, 5%, and then go do a quick paper math, paper napkin based arithmetic to calculate the value. And guess what? M&As are driven with this kind of quick, easy arithmetic. YouTube was purchased by Google for 1.6 billion during the course of a 40-minute discussion in Palo Alto, Starbucks. All that they did was, what is the monetary value year on year, how much, how many page views, what is the growth, is it growing exponentially? So it's extremely easy, and the flip side of it is, on an Excel spreadsheet, even a hairpin, a safety pin venture, you can project 5 years, I'll be $1 trillion. What does it take? You assume certain growth rate year on year. So that valuation is, you have to do it intuitively. You don't waste too much time trying to ratify or validate whatever arithmetic that you've used. And no venture capitalist will go into great detail on the formula. Never formalize. It's simple, understandable. Anybody and everybody should be able to understand the math.
Hello. you talk about the algorithms being patented. So now there are multiple models already out. OpenAI models are there. There are other models. So if you just tweak the model, existing model, and then do you think those things can be patented? And how does, in the era of artificial intelligence, these algorithms patenting is going to change? So what are your thoughts?
Like, all of that, the neural networks, RNNs, it's all there. But they are using it for a particular application, for extracting meaningful information based on large data. That's number one. Number two, the unfortunate thing of this hype, and in fact we were talking about it earlier, historically if you were to look at innovations, and starting from the gold rush in the US, very few miners who migrated to the West in search of gold actually made it alive. They died in that extreme cold. Very few miners made money. They found real gold. The people who made money were the jeans, clothing suppliers, saddle for the horses, that kind of. So if I were to draw a parallel, even in AI, regardless of what it is, the platform builders will always make money. The apps guys, if you were to take your iPhone, how many apps people pay money for and then use it? They have spent a ton of money developing the app. It has some functionality, some usefulness, but it is always the platform that comes out making money. So there are all these challenges that come into play the moment you look at AI also. I am of the firm belief that, and this is an argument that I keep having with my son, who's sitting there, I think the model, the algorithm that is there behind it, I have used it in my master's thesis way back in 86, 87. Only thing is it was known as regression and correlation. The thing about the West is if something, doesn't make it big, within 2-3 years they'll change the name. Network computing of Steve Jobs, 90s, mid-90s, change it to SaaS, cloud computing, the same old wine in a new bottle. And at some point in time, it will make it big. Now, SaaS also, they use the term SaaS, but it originally started as network computing, and Steve Jobs initiated the concept. So there are these kind of issues that come into play, and it's the same thing with AI. We are just scraping the surface of AI. I've used it in my asking legal problems and got him to run it. Second step, it got it all wrong. Out of some 5, 6, 7 steps. And the thing is, the final solution is if one of the earlier steps is all wrong, the final outcome is also wrong. So we are still not there. There is tremendous opportunity though, and I would urge, everybody is getting carried away. Oh, they are giving APIs, why shouldn't I use it? I'll build a product on top of it, application which will use it. Why do I need to reinvent the wheel? Sometimes you do need to reinvent the wheel to improve the wheel. I think with our mathematics, engineering, scientists, it is possible.
So my question is basically, from what I observed, is that patents are a response. They generally lag. So if you have to establish utility in the market to be able to patent something, then it, in some sense, is lagging the market. So then the question over there is, how do you identify what is the value proposition of the patent itself when it's already behind the market?
Good question. Related body of knowledge that exists. All that you have to do is, if there is a smart lawyer, a patent agent or attorney, he will always draft it in such a way that either you are sidestepping, circumventing the claims that are there in whatever exists, or you're leapfrogging. And the way to do it is basically identifying the pain points or the loopholes or the lacunae in whatever state of art that exists.
I'm given to understand that he's your son, right? So you have plenty of opportunity to ask questions. Awesome. So, thank you, sir, for the insightful, the eye-catchy, the relatable, and the lucid presentation. It was nice that it was really interactive. It is very less that we get such a high response of people wanting to go and ask technical questions. I'm sure you've done a great utilitarian presentation here. So, I would like to now call on stage Mr. Sudhanva Dhananjaya, board member, Time Mysuru, to please come and hand over a memento to Mr. Kiran Bettadpur as a token of our appreciation and gratitude. Round of applause, everyone. Of today's event, which is what is it, the second segment? The leadership installation ceremony. I would like to call on stage Mr. Ajit Pai, board member Time Mysuru, to please do the proceedings of this next segment of the event.
Change is hard, and so are changeovers. And organizations that manage it well show signs of maturity and progress. Today we are at one such change at Time Mysuru. 2024 was probably one of the busiest years ever in Time Mysuru history. And the man that made it happen was none other than Dr. Mahesh Rao. As president, he was relentless. And for those of you who bore the brunt, you know it well. I'm talking about the Dr. Rao who will call you, assign you a responsibility and call you back in 2 hours asking whether it's done. I'm talking to the Dr. Rao, under whose leadership we had innumerable programs under the pillars of TIE and new initiatives such as Milan, where we visit businesses owned by charter members. And of course, who can forget the glorious TGS in Mysore, which was his dream, and the historical award ceremony in front of the Mysore Palace. And just as we are getting used to him being around us in our lives all the time, last week during the board meeting, he expressed his desire to step down. He has upcoming travel which is going to keep him busy and away from Mysore. And the board, we can tell you, Dr. Rao, that we'll miss you, but we'll continue your initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, I invite our outgoing president, Dr. Mahesh Rao, to share a few words.
Good evening, and thank you very much, Ajit. There are 3 segments to my part of it here. The first part is to indicate my impression of what I did at TIE, right? So Ajit mentioned it. I just don't want to elaborate too much further. There were quite a few initiatives. Yes, there was quite a bit of growth. Of course, everybody knows that. So for me, for the young entrepreneurs whom I see here, there are 4 different things which I usually mention to them about. And when I go to the colleges, I talk about, and I just want to highlight that. For me, you cannot move in your entrepreneurial journey unless you have passion, unless you have patience, unless you have perseverance, unless you have commitment. Those are very important for you because that's the only way by which you will succeed. And I think Kiran mentioned very clearly in even today's that if you want to go ahead and succeed, you need to have that. Okay, so on that, you all know about the patience, perseverance, and the passion part. On the commitment part, I would like to give you one simple example of my own personal thing, just so that we all are on the same page in there. This was 1981-82. I had gotten an admission to a master's program, and I was about to leave. So when I went to the visa officer, he said that, you know what, your I-20 to your exact expenses, there is a small difference. At that time, about $3,000. Remember, today, there is a lot of stuff which is there in the marketplace, in the Google. and you can Google it. 81, 82, there was nothing of that sort. You had to make a contact, you had to talk to them, you had to figure it out. And being in Mysuru, it was not easy to talk to people because very few people had gone abroad and had done that and had. So I went to a bank, approached. Of course, somebody said that yes, you can get it. At that point in time, $3,000 was at about 7.8 rupees, if I remember right, for $1. It was about 23,000 rupees. Okay, very small amount in today's world, right? For all the students who are there, very small amount. But somebody had to say that yes, he will come back, he will pay all of that guarantee. All of that was done, and I got that money. Okay, that was a difference because US looks at it or Canada looks at it in different way compared to what we look at. Your living expense is different, but they calculate based on whatever the things which they have used, and you have to meet that. I think most of you people know that. So went there, finished it, and 89 or so, I had already finished my PhD by that time, not only master's, I had employed, and 89, 90 time frame. My son was on the way, meaning that my wife was pregnant. We had purchased a house, all of that. So I came to visit India, went to the bank and said, I want to pay this back. So how much was the money there? Now it was almost 60,000 rupees. Okay, it was increased by that much amount of money. But the good part is the dollar had increased, so it was still $3,000 plus. Not a much amount of money, whatever the same thing, right? So I said, okay, fine, I'll sign a check. And there was, at that time, I don't know most of you are aware of it or not, there was something called check discounting process. You could write a check, and there was a discounting process. You had to pay some extra money, and they would discount. So it was a dollar check, which I wrote for that amount of money. So I already had the money. So they said that you need to show a bank account saying that you have the money. So I already had a bank statement. While coming back, I had taken that, and I had taken my checkbook, gave that, and they said, yeah, sure, you have the money, so fine, we will discount it, and done. And whoever the guarantor had said that yes. So the funny part is that why I'm saying this is something a little bit different from those of you who are there. The check was discounted, my loan was zeroed. Okay, so they said that give us 15 days, it will collect and all those stuff. There was nothing like today where it can be discounted and collected tomorrow, because check 21, for those of you, it's a rule which came in 21st century where photocopy of the check or scanned copy of the check will be sent to the paying bank, and it is discounted. That was not there. Okay, so the check was sent. It went to Bombay from SBI, State Bank of India. Went to Bombay. From there went to New York. Between Bombay to New York, the check got lost. From my perspective, I paid. From Indian SBI perspective, in Bombay they have registered. That means that it is not my responsibility. It's done. So about 4 months later, the bank came to me and said that, sir, your check is lost. We know that you're not obligated because your loan is zero. Did your money hit the bank, or did we take up that money from your account? We want to know because there might be a mistake. I said, no, I didn't know. Went to the bank, checked all of that, because I was busy with my kid on the way and my house, various other stuff. I had almost like a $500,000 worth of research grants, working day in and day out, so didn't know. So took a day, went to the bank. There was a call which was made on a booked phone call, okay, landline. I still remember, it was 8:30 in the night. I had just come home from long day at the university, and I was sitting there having my dinner, and the phone rang, and I picked it up, and this was the manager from Sirsi, SBI, who had called me and talked to me for almost 10 minutes, explaining his problem. I said, okay, give me a couple of days, let me check. I checked. it wasn't gone. And he had prefaced very clearly, you are out of the clear, you are out of the blue. You don't have to pay anything, because it's clear. I said, no, I made a commitment to you. I paid, I need to pay. It's still $3,000, I'll pay that. And I asked him, can you please take away the discounting prices which you have? It was almost 3,000 rupees, 4,000 rupees. He said, yes. So I made a, what you call it as a check, called a banker's check, and sent it out to him. I had no, obligation to pay. As per the rules, Negotiable Instrument Act, I had no obligation to pay. But I thought that, it's my commitment. That's the same commitment I had with Time Mysuru. That commitment carried all the way till today. Whether I'm obligated in any way, I do that. So for the startups, have that commitment to your stakeholders, the people who have funded you, the people who have worked with you, have that commitment. Please meet that. And definitely you will go a long way in your life. Okay? So that is my advice to you. Having the passion, having the perseverance, having your patience, things don't happen overnight. Don't expect that hockey stick which Kiran talked about to happen within 1 month. You got the money, somebody invested, you want to make it happen tomorrow. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So that's what the thing is. So other than that, I think you all know, you have all been with me for the last year. Yes, as Ajit said, I'm a driver. That's my, my characteristics. My daughter is here. She knows that, and she always says very clearly, Dad, slow down. Okay? So the last part of the segment of mine is that I need to thank all the people who have been with me over the period of time, of course. That includes the 6 different segment of people whom I have identified, and I would like to thank them personally. Okay? One is Time Mysuru Board. Next, the ecosystem partners, Karnataka Digital Economy Mission, SJCE STEP. I couldn't remember also, I wrote it down, so bear with me. Institutional members, Vidyavardhaka College of Engineering. I see Dr. Lokesh here somewhere. Thank you very much. Okay. JSS Science and Technology University, JSS. Cresta College, National Institute of Engineering, NIE. Maharaja Institute of Technology, Tandavpura and Mysore. I see Dr. Yes. Okay. Yes, sir. Dr. YTK. GSSS Institute of Engineering and Technology, Dr. Shivkumar. Donors, Dr. Jagannath Shanai, Sabrishan, Ram Kevlur, Sam Cherian. Sponsors, Keynes Technology, Excelsoft Technology, Sudhanva is here. Walkmate Footwears, KDEM, Chevron Laboratories, Ranksons, Silicon Road, Sanvi Technology, Ranksons, Pawan is here. Silicon Road, Sanvi Technologies, Infopine, Achyuta is here. Palace Toyota, I don't see Srinivas here. DRC, okay. Myra School of Business, PAMS Engineering, Micrographio, Ram, Cloud Tech Software, PayPal Ventures, Ajit, Hotel Riruchi the Prince, the present hotel. Special thanks to Infosys Mysore and Mysore Palace Board for the support which you have provided in the last year, without which I don't think I could have done anything substantiative. I appreciate all of your support. That means a lot to me, and that means a lot to Time Mysuru. So, with that, I would say thank you very much. Thank you for giving me an opportunity. It's a great honor. I appreciate that. And I'm always there. Just to give you one small thing, there is a wonderful, on a silver platter which is being provided to us. And I'm urging Bhaskar to pursue that for women entrepreneurship. I don't see Sri Lakshmi Desiraju here. Most probably she would have been jumping up and down on that. Okay? And this is an initiative which I want Bhaskar to take it up. Anything which I can do to help you out, Bhaskar, let's do that. Okay? There are ways for us to circumvent and make sure that that succeeds. And let's do that. And the Taj Group, Tata company, is willing to sponsor through their CSR activity for women entrepreneurship beyond Bangalore. And that's what I'm talking about. Okay? So I hope Bhaskar will take it up. I urge Bhaskar to take it up. And this is a wonderful opportunity. That's what I'm talking about. I'm always there. I'm traveling too much. I just came back yesterday. I was in New Zealand and Australia for 18 days. And again, I plan to travel. And my daughter is graduating with her bachelor's degree, and she is saying that, we should go out, meet up with her brother, and spend some time in US. So all of this travel is happening. So that's where I said that, my commitment, I may not be able to meet to my standards, not to any of your standards or whatever. That is, yes, that is important, but at the same time, if I can meet to my standards, I don't feel that I'm doing the right job. Okay, so that's the whole thing. Thank you very much again, from the bottom of my heart.
I would urge everybody to increase the intensity of your applause as Dr. Mahesh Rao demands it in the start of every event. If anyone can whistle, that's also welcome. Dr. Rao, if Time Mysore could award a doctorate, they would award you another one, a double doctorate for the amazing work that you've done as the president. So I would like to call the entire Time Mysuru board to please come on the stage and felicitate Dr. Mahesh Rao. A huge round of applause again, everybody.
Board members were there. I think you guys saw why we were all here. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce your new Time Mysuru president. All of us know Bhaskar Kalale well, but it's my pleasure to let you all know about him a bit more. A BSc in mathematics, a bachelor's in engineering, followed by a master's in computer science, would have been enough for most people, but not for Bhaskar. He went on to get an MBA from UCLA. Yes, that LA which is burning and in the news today. He spent over a decade working for startups and corporations, tech companies in Silicon Valley, and prior to joining Theorem Inc. in 2011. He was instrumental in setting up their and establishing the India operations and retired from there as president. A few years ago, he became the chairman of India Ops of Equalize CRM, a US healthcare BPO with about 1,400 employees in Coimbatore and Mysore. Amidst all these professional endeavors, the entrepreneurial bug kept biting him. Be it market deals, a startup focused on increasing footfalls into retailers, or Spearlog, I think I'm pronouncing it right, an e-magazine publisher with geo-based advertising. And now bravely as a restaurateur with the Sorrento, an Italian and Mediterranean restaurant. I say brave because not only is the restaurant business hard, he is partnering with his wife for the restaurant. Asha and he support numerous social causes in and around Mysore. Notably, they support Arunodaya Special Children's School, a school for mentally differently abled children from underprivileged backgrounds, and also play an active role in improving living conditions in their native village of Kalale. Bhaskar has been a part of the business and the professional community in Mysore, being the chairman of CII, a council member of the recently launched Mysuru Entrepreneurial Forum, an initiative of Sri H.H. Duvir, and of course, a founding member of TIE Mysuru. Earlier today, when I was reflecting on the journey of TIE Mysuru over the past 5 or 6 years, an interesting fact jumped out. The presidency of TIE Mysuru has been alternating between two-year terms and one-year term. Sanjay Srinivasmurthy began and took it up as a 2-year term, followed by me, which I did a 1-year term. And then Sudhanva came in, did a 2-year term, and Mahesh Rao has done a 1-year term. So Bhaskar, you're going to last for 2 years. You have no choice. I could not be more proud or happier to present to you the incoming chairman of TIE Mysuru, Bhaskar Kalale. The floor is yours.
Okay, everybody, good evening. It's good to see a hall full of people. I'm very, very humbled, I should say, with the responsibility that the board has given me. And I do hope that obviously, I'll do the best that I can with the support of all of the people that are out here, including the board members. Before I say anything else, I think Dr. Mahesh Rao is leaving behind a huge shoes to fill. Honestly speaking, with the TGS, the mega event that we all witnessed and we all were so proud to be part of. I think that is one of the biggest shoes that the shoe became much bigger with that particular event, and it's not an easy thing to beat, so as to speak. But as Ajit was saying, over the last 6 years, every president that has come and contributed to the growth of TIE Mysuru, I think each one of them have added some significant value to what TIE Mysuru is today. Right? So it's been growing leaps and bounds, and I hope that going forward, I'll be able to add a little bit of from my side as well. And I've been talking with various people over the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks to see what are the things that we can do over the next 2 years. As Ajit said, now he's already asked me that we can add to the entrepreneurial ecosystem here in Mysore. So I'm very honored. I feel very honored. I feel very humbled, and I look forward to the challenges that exist in front of us. And with your support and with the support of the board members and all of the partners that we have been working with, like the KDMs, and now the MEF, that's Mysore Entrepreneurial Forum, etc., and CII, of course. And we hope to continue to get better and achieve or reach higher goals. So thank you so very much one more time, and I'll come back and talk again. But thanks a lot.
Accepting the role of the president of TIE Mysuru for a period of 2 years. All vendors, your contracts are sealed for 2 more years. You can relax. Now we every year would pass a file, or we just mention handing over the baton or passing. So this year we decided to go ahead and make a baton and see how that plays out and refine it and improve it as the years go by. So I would like to call Dr. Mahesh Rao back on stage and request him to pass the TIE baton to Mr. Bhaskar.
So this is, of course, symbolic, and I hope we'll just keep going up higher and higher from here. Before, I had a couple of slides to, kind of share with you what some of the things that I plan to execute or to work on over the next years, a couple of years or so. But before I get there, is it working? Not working. Hello, is it working now? Okay. All right, so Kiran, thank you very much for your expert opinion on variety of different topics. And just to also let you know, Kiran and I are also distantly related to each other, right? So that is that's how I know how skillful he is in delivering whatever topic you give him. So, and you haven't actually heard him talk about his book, which is Art of Selling, Gita and the Art of Selling. You should probably hear from him on that one as well. He's a man of variety of different skills, and we have lived together we lived very close to each other in the US, literally 2 streets away from each other, and so on. So I know him. He's a man of many skills. So thank you very much for coming down from Bangalore on my request to address us today. One thing I do want to mention, on that your do's and don'ts slides that you had, one important company that is a non-tech, non-IT company that I would like to see up there is, or I'll mention there, is Toyota, right? So Toyota is one company that has never stopped innovating, right? So that is one company that has always been ahead of every other competitor so far. And I know some of the things that Toyota does, and I want to share that with you because it would help lots of the people, both entrepreneurs as well as business owners. One of the VP of marketing and VP of operations of Toyota US was a classmate of mine when we were studying MBA together. And he went on to actually build the most modern Toyota factory in Dallas, Texas. So he was in charge of building that out, and he successfully did that, and he retired 3 years ago. So we were actually talking about, so Toyota was the first company to come up with a hybrid car called Prius. So I don't know how many of you know about this or heard about this, right? So Prius was the first hybrid car ever made anywhere in the US, anywhere in the US, in the world rather. Now, immediately after Prius was launched, about 2 or 3 years later, Honda also came up with a hybrid car, okay? And Prius was obviously highly successful, right? It just took the entire US car market by storm. Honda's launch wasn't so, or wasn't as much, right? So we obviously, this was became one of the case studies during our MBA class as well, and he was conducting the case study or talk about or discuss that case study. So he said, it is not that Toyota's hybrid car was any better or much better than the Honda hybrid. He said on the technology front, both of them were on keel with each other. But where Toyota won over is the fact that they designed the car in a totally different way compared to all the other cars in the market at that time. So that car was easily distinguishable from the rest of the cars on the freeway. So they said they had months of discussion on what the design of the car should be. And what they decided was that, look, the person, and it was being sold at a premium, by the way, at that time. So the person who is driving the car wants to show people that they care about the environment, right? They're trying to make a style statement. They were trying to make a statement about their beliefs in taking care of the environment. And all the other cars even if they were hybrid, it didn't give out that statement because the shape was the same. But the Prius was so distinctly visible on the freeway that everybody looked around and looked at the car and said, who is driving it? You may not know each other, it doesn't matter. But they were making a style statement. They're making a statement about their commitment to the environment and so on and so forth. That is the reason why it was so humongously successful compared to all the other hybrids at that time. And then he also went on to tell us the user groups the Toyota forms before they launch any new model. And they go through extensive user research. They form focus groups. They go through the focus groups, talk to them about what they would expect in a car, etc. It's a long story. But I think Toyota also, because of all the other things that they have brought into the manufacturing domain, but now a lot of IT companies are actually adopting some of the techniques of quality and other things that Toyota actually employs in their factory. But anyway, so please add that next time. It would be nice to have that as a non-tech company as well. So now I lost my thought, but anyway, so a couple of 2 slides I have. I just want to go through those 2 slides. And as I said, I've spoken to people over the last couple of weeks, and I have missed out speaking to a couple of you from the board particularly, and I will catch up with you and refine this. But at a very high level, I felt there cannot be any better commitment from my side to do the things that I said I will do if I don't put it out there in the public domain. Right? So that's the best form to push myself and say, look, I've made a commitment to this group. I made a commitment to this organization. I made a commitment to the board to achieve the things that I think I should be achieving and I feel that I should achieve. So I hope I'll be able to achieve all of them, but definitely the attempt is going to be as many as possible, and I look forward to working with all of you to do that. Okay, first and foremost, as I said, is build on the TGS momentum, right? So TGS momentum, one of the sessions of TGS Thai Global Summit in Mysuru was held in the Infosys campus, and there was a cultural entrepreneurship segment in Infosys. And many of us actually committed, to say that we'll actually promote the cultural entrepreneurship in Mysore, and many of us were agreed to form a fund as well. So I think it would be a proud moment for Thai Mysuru if we can take this forward and say that Thai Mysuru actually took the first step amongst all of the Thai chapters in India or anywhere to form a cultural angel fund for culturally oriented entrepreneurial spirits or ideas. The second one is build a robust entrepreneurial ecosystem in Mysore. Build meaning it's obviously it's a work in progress. It will never be a final stage. There's a whole lot of things that I felt we could do, and again building on all of the successes of the past presidents, and and we'll go along leveraging their experience as well. First of all, articulate what and how Thai can help ideation to launch. Right? So there are a lot of ideas that come up, but they probably actually even die before they bubble up, right? And there are a lot of, when I say ideation to launch, Kiran talked about seed funding as well. He talked about angel funding. There are a lot of policies from Government of India and Government of Karnataka. And when I say Government of India, in fact, my wife's restaurant is a beneficiary of that, right? So just to give you a quick example, in a restaurant, you don't have any assets pretty much, right? Other than the kitchen equipment. But still, she was able to secure, Government of India gives you a loan up to 5 crores, okay, without any security, without any guarantee. Right, so that is what she took, and of course there's a lot of paperwork that needs to be completed, etc. But what I'm saying is, for the entrepreneurs, there are those hidden schemes that needs to be made popular, that needs to be made available to entrepreneurs who are looking for funding and so on. And similarly, I heard very recently that Government of Karnataka, there are 8 different policies and 8 different types of grants that are available from Government of Karnataka under various schemes. Right, so the attempt or the idea is that to make that public or made available and talk about it more openly in Thai Mysuru, so that people are aware of those schemes that they can leverage. Focus on non-IT, non-tech, and non-disruptive companies as well. So there are plenty of companies out there. You don't, even though Kiran said look for disruptive ideas and things like that, but there are a lot of non-disruptive ideas that also can be very successful businesses or can be entrepreneurial ventures. So the idea is to actually not be just tech heavy, but look at non-IT and non-tech areas as well. The primer for first-time entrepreneurs on various topics, based on my conversation with many of you, and also having had the opportunity to mentor a couple of companies, what I realized that there is a lot of confusion on first-time entrepreneurs about accounting and finance, about digital marketing, about IP protection. What should I do? Where should I go? Whom should I talk to? How much should I know? That is the biggest one, right? So I may be an entrepreneur, doesn't mean that I'm a master of all the things that are out there, right? So that's why you hire people who are experts in that area. So where do I go to? What kind of company should I be forming, and so on. So I would like to have some kind of a forum where we educate the first-time entrepreneurs on the topics that they may be very hesitant to ask at other times. Similarly, the next village where I said prepare a Rolodex of vetted professionals for first-time entrepreneurs. Where do I go? Whom do I ask this question? right? So who can help? So, and how do you know that the advice that you're getting is a sound advice, right? Because you're a first-time entrepreneur, you may have trouble finding that out as well. So the idea is to form a group of experts from different fields whom these entrepreneurs can go and talk to and figure out, or have their questions answered. And the fourth one or the fifth one is encourage startup investment in the portfolio of high net worth individuals of Mysuru for non-Thai Mysuru. So I would like us as a group to see if we can make the ecosystem, entrepreneurship ecosystem in Mysuru more robust by bringing in high net worth individuals in Mysuru to come forward and start supporting the early stage startup companies. That's what I mean by that last but one bullet. And identify and showcase the micro businesses in Mysore, right? So that goes, doesn't need any explanation. So the next one is a greater engagement with institutional members, right? So there are quite a few institutional members that Dr. Mahesh Rao talked about. I think the big question for us is how do we engage with them in a fashion that allows the students of those institutions to start thinking about entrepreneurship for the ideas that they may be, that they may have in their heads, but they are not very clear on how to bring that up, right? So one of the suggestions, for example, Ajit mentioned the other day to me was, can we have an office hours for, let's say, for a couple of hours every 2 weeks or 3 weeks in these institutions where experienced Thai members will go and just sit there, and see if students want to come in and talk to them. So the outreach has to happen to institutions as to what their expectations are from Thai. It is just, we in Thai Mysuru don't want to just get the money from the institutions or get the volunteer help alone, but we want to give it back to the institution as well. So the best way is to do that is to actually go to where the students are, the institutions are, and then talk to them and figure out what they need and see how, if we can address their concerns and issues. The next one is also again a big one, greater involvement of charter members and the associate members. When I say involvement, it is just not about volunteering physically, but we want people to come forward. And as you can see, in the as far as the presidentship of Thai Mysuru is concerned, we definitely would like to get younger and not older. And we are right now not moving in the right direction, to be honest. So we are moving in the wrong direction. So I would like, honestly speaking, I would like younger people to start coming forward, take on the mentorship, the mantle of taking this organization forward. I think we all have been there, done that. I think it is time that younger crowd comes in and start executing on your ideas, because the younger crowd has a lot more ideas of what is to be done. You guys know what you want. You guys know what your peers want. Right, so so that would be the focus going forward as to how do we get more people from those two communities involved. Identify their needs, wants, and desires from Thai and its members. Its value prop to so Kiran talked about value prop of businesses. What is our value proposition? So what does Thai stand for? Yeah, it stands for promoting entrepreneurship. Beyond that, what? Right. So what are we doing actually to promote entrepreneurship here beyond the talks that we have and we assemble every month, once a month, etc., but it got to go out of these banquet halls and to the masses out there. Plans are investment clinic, exposure to investment opportunities to Thai Angel Portal. I don't know how many of you are exposed to it. There is something called Thai Angel Portal where deals from around the world are posted, right? So for angel funding. Right, so, and sometimes the ticket prices are as low as just ₹1,00,000, but the idea is just not about the money, but can we get people to be interested in investing in startups? Even this crowd itself, I'm pretty sure many of you might be interested, and we need to facilitate that. And that is how the money will hopefully come back to Mysuru-based startups as well. So the idea is just not to support startups outside of Mysore, but hopefully that bug, once it bites you, you will start to look at startups based in Mysuru as well to be funded. And mentor clinics, I'm calling it mentor clinics. Why, how to, available resources, etc. So what I mean by saying, a lot of us may want to mentor, but we don't know how to mentor. right? We may have the experience, and I was talking with Sudhanva the other day. Mentoring is also a skill, right? So not all entrepreneurs, not all successful businesses can be good mentors, right? And similarly, all good mentors need not be entrepreneurs or good businessmen, but they just need to be exposed to all of the the risks or the successes of a business. So I believe there is a lot of coaching that can be imparted to our charter members, so that they can become good mentors for other businesses. And one of the best people that I have seen mentoring and very successfully is Sabrishan. Right, so if anybody can learn anything about mentoring, it is Sabrishan. He does a phenomenal job. It's a skill that very few people have. So I'm going to lean on him, to start off with, to do the first session of the mentoring, and I'll reach out to you later on. Improve branding of Thai Mysuru in Mysuru itself, and I think all of you agree with that. And these are some very small steps that we can take. And I've already started to work with ED Mahesh to look at what are the things that we can do and promote Mysuru to be the place to go for everybody who is thinking about starting a business or starting and their entrepreneurial journey. And improving financial health of Thai Mysuru, not to say that it is not good, it is very healthy, right? And I think all the previous presidents and also last year's contribution from people like Sudhanva and Pawan have made the coffers pretty healthy, but we need to maintain that. We need to make sure that we are not going toward in the wrong direction, but in the positive direction. So I do have some plans of improving the health of Thai Mysuru, financial health of Thai Mysuru as well, which includes membership development, obviously. So when the thought is, if we are able to do a good value proposition of Thai to the outside world, the membership will automatically happen. So membership is a result of an activity called building the value proposition for Thai Mysuru. Otherwise, what happens is I may pull in somebody as a charter member or an associate member, and they will join only because of my personal relationship. The moment I step aside, they'll probably leave the organization. That doesn't sustain for too long. So we got to do a collectively good work of building the value proposition through branding and defining who we are and what we stand for. Seamless coexistence with MEF, CII, etc. And we have already talked about what MEF is, which is an initiative of His Highness Yaduvir to build an entrepreneurial forum, which will be an overarching umbrella organization, which is going to be a collection of organizations, grassroots organizations like TAI and CII and so many others, to bring them together. So his vision is to improve socio-economic or cause socio-economic development in Mysuru and Kodagu region, which comes under his Lok Sabha constituency, etc. So we will do whatever we need to work with government agencies and the private organizations like CII and MEF to do whatever we can to promote entrepreneurial journeys of people in this region. Greater transparency and interaction with charter members. So charter members and all of us in the board, we have talked it so many times in the board meetings. You guys are the backbone of the organization, right? So think of charter members. Actually, I say as charter members as the backbone because think of yourself as a mid-management level in an organization. You are the conduit for both upward communication and downward communication. That is, you're required or you're expected to talk or be mentors to the associate managers who are juniors to you, but you're also eyes and ears of the board or the Thai management, so as to speak, to say what are the expectations, what are the desires, what are people expecting from Thai as an organization. So therefore, I consider charter members to be the backbone. They're also the next level of leadership for us. That's a pipeline that we want to build, so that 7 of us can, over the next 3 years, can step away and, people like Adarsh and people like somebody, who else was there? Adarsh was here, right? So then other people can start moving in and bring in their own ideas to take the organization forward. And then as a part of that, we would like to start sharing a lot of the information that happen in the board, what discussions we take on, what financials we have and where we are, and solicit your opinion, your suggestions, your feedback to make this organization a lot more robust and scalable. And we can potentially have roundtable conversations with CM. So rather than having large groups like this where it becomes very difficult to have those conversations, maybe small roundtable discussions over a cup of coffee, right? So that might be nice as well. Last but not the least, as I said, board member elections, we are 7 of us, and starting with Ajit, many of them have expressed their desire. If I can be public about it, Ajit. In fact, I also wanted to say earlier, I've been telling Sudhanva for last 2 years, I said I need to step out of the board. But somehow we have continued because we haven't built that pipeline of leadership who can come in and take over. So starting with Ajit, and Sudhanva ji has also said that he wants to, he wants to let other people come in. It is good, the churn has to happen. Churn is very, very natural. I'm not putting them on the spot, but I'm sure, they understand where I'm coming from. Any churn in the system is good for the health of the organization, right? So we need to make that churn happen. Board elections will need to happen sometime in the course of next 2 years. And hopefully we can develop that leadership pipeline over the next year and a half or 2 years for the board elections to happen. And hopefully in due course of time, I can also step away from the board and let other people come in, right? So that is what I wanted to present. And then, but I'm also open to hear from you, what I call it as an open mic for today. And besides this, if you have anything that you feel that we should be looking at or I should be looking at, it's an open mic. So please feel free to give me your thoughts, ideas, and suggestions. Anybody? Yeah, you can clap if you want. Yeah, Ram was hesitant. He was like, go ahead. I was afraid they would think I was plotting to clap. Yeah, you're all hungry? Okay. Yes. Yes, can somebody get the mic to Vidya Shankar?
Our idea given, just it is a supporting statement. Plenty of youngsters are there in engineering institutions. They want to start some industries. I have been encouraging, not even single, say, hardware industry is getting converted. Software industries, yes, it is possible for them to start on their own, their idea. So if you can come down to the institutions and collect the people who are all having a lot of interest in starting something, if you pump them, it is possible. I brought around, say, 10 plus students here. So I have been encouraging them to start something. Nothing is happening. And I'm coming here, every month I'm coming here, I'll talk something, I'll listen something, I'll have a couple of pecks of whiskey, and I'll go. That's all is happening. Nothing has happened with me from last 1 year. I'm with this. From last 1 year, I've not learned anything. Unless you come to us, you go to the, say, students cannot come here.
Agreed.
So I'm supporting your statement.
Thank you,
sir. Please come down to our institutions. We give every, say, facility. We'll select a couple of students and we'll ask them to start something. Space is available at free of cost. Everything. Your ideas are required. Their idea you have to convert into the product. Thank you very much.
Sure. Thank you.
Pavilion a couple of years ago. One of the things we said is charity begins at home. Now, when we visit the colleges, we should invite the parents also. Have a focus group.
Good idea.
Because entrepreneurship spirit should be encouraged by parents. Unfortunately, what has happened is parents want their children to be well educated, get an MNC job, be happy, earn a lot of money. It's not the case. So we should encourage that. I'm entirely with you.
Years back, okay. So basically, I had nothing to reach out to. I had no network. Okay. Plus, I was solely depending on LinkedIn or Google. Trying to reach out to my known network, who is very close by. And the success that I found was when I actually joined a kind of a Thai organization called Head Start Foundation back in Bangalore. I used to travel to Bangalore every month to just to attend such events like Thai. I was a member of Thai Bangalore. I never knew like there's a Thai Mysuru that existed before. So, I mean, these kind of events are really critical. Probably, may not be, like the first thing that I learned is be shameless. Okay, be shameless. Go reach out to everyone. Go talk to everyone, no matter. Okay, the first speech that I gave here. Okay, that's what I decided. Like, let's be shameless. No matter I'm going to perform well on the stage or not. Let's do it. So that's when, when a lot of CM members, especially Mr. Sabhishan sir, got me into the network and, got in touch with a lot of network members from Thai. And today we got funded and we are like, ready to even export the products from India. Thank you.
All right, thanks. Reach out to me. He knows how to get hold of me. He knows where all to get hold of me. So let me put it that way. So, yeah, Mahesh would be the best person. If you reach out to him, he will connect you with me. All right. So yeah. So the whole, I hear what you're saying. That's the reason I put it up on the board as my commitment to the board for giving me this opportunity. It is my commitment to the members of TAI, and it's my commitment to the organization called TAI Mysuru, that over the next, some of these things will start to roll out in the next few months. Obviously, we need to look at the details and the operationalization of those, but I'm hopeful that we'll kick some of these off in a very, very short span of time. All right. Sure. Okay, good thought. Yeah. Good thought. Yeah, we could arrange for that. Sure. All right. So thank you so very much, and let's hit the bar and the food. Thank you very much once again. All right.
While thanking people, I forgot the most important person in Thai, that is the ED, Mahesh Katale. Please, a big round of applause. And he's always there. And as Bhaskar said, to reach out to anybody, just have Mahesh Katale's number. Tell him that you want to reach out to Pawan, Sudhanva, Mahesh Rao, Bhaskar, Ajit, Ram. Doesn't matter. He will reach out to them and make sure that he connects them with you. Thank you very much, Mahesh.
To Dr. Mahesh. So, Mahesh and Mahesh, please come on stage. Requesting the other board members and Mr. Kiran also to please join for a group photo, after which...
Taking 2 minutes, few announcements to be made. Welcoming the new president, Bhaskar Kalale, and congratulating the immediate past president, Dr. Mahesh Rao. I'm also the reason why I'm standing before, because of one annual event what we do in Thai is Thai University program. It is coming up in a new shape, a new format. It's supposed to happen from December, January, and February kind of a thing. But this year the format is slightly changed and coming in 3 different phases. It means that we have a Thai University program at locally, continuing with Thai global activities committed by global team, and it will concluding with Thai global event in wherever things is going to happen. It means that we need to be prepared for that. And Bhaskar sir already mentioned that what is required. My request is also we need to make Thai University program team a little bit more wider and larger, because that is where the more intensity we need to build, and also now take it to the global level. And second one is, you already mentioned touch base on the mentorship. That is where the Thai University program is coming up. Typically, to address some of the questions as just immediately asked by the people back here. And to make it more interesting, last year we planned what we need to do with the Thai student chapter. In addition to the monthly program, we wanted to add student chapter events happening, all the institutional members. This is also why we need to engage the students at each of the institution level itself. It means that we are going to each of the institutions and making those student chapter activities at the institutions level itself. That is one of the direct solutions for the questions is been coming through. It means that we are going to have student members as a part of the leadership and as well as one of the faculties coming in put together. It means that from idea to launch, one of the initiation sir has mentioned is taken care already in that, and also as well as the institutional activity you need to amplify in that way. So that's the major announcement from Thai University activities. Thank you very much.
I know it's almost the time, but yes, what a day to begin this year 2025. Heartfelt congratulations to Dr. Mahesh Rao on this wonderful journey of 1 year as the president of Thai Mysuru, and the big flagship event, Thai Global Summit, which made a very big success and a very big sound in the entire Thai global level. So before I go with the vote of thanks and making the concluding remarks, we have received the goodie bags from Thai Bangalore chapter for all the Thai members of Mysuru who made the Thai Global Summit a very big success. So all of you are requested to take one goodie bag each, which is a compliment which has been provided from the Thai Bangalore team to the Thai Mysuru volunteers, the members, and whoever was part of this big event. So to go ahead with, I thank Dr. Mahesh Rao sir for rendering the welcoming address as the president for the session and immediate past president for the late. I also thank Mr. Ram Kevlur for rendering the introduction about the speaker and wonderful masterclass session, sir, to begin this year. A big round of applause to Mr. Kiran Betatpur. So I hope the house is full with most of the student members here who will definitely take the journey ahead with a positive note from the day itself. So I also thank, as usual, Mr. Ajit Pai sir for making the leadership installation a very creative way in in almost all the sessions how we do. So every new beginning comes from some others' beginnings end. So thank you, Mahesh Rao sir, for making this 1 year under you a very big dream come true for many of the members like us who witnessed Thai Global Summit on a different scale. So wishing Mr. Bhaskar Kalale sir, 2 years of the members, president post, and we all stand with the way how we did along with Mahesh Rao sir for the next coming 2 years as well. I thank the board members of Thai Mysuru for making your presence here and making the event a great success. I thank all the charter members, associate members, student members, and few of the invitees for all your gracious presence and making this event a great success. Hoping to all have a very great networking dinner ahead. Thank you and good night.